Welcome to an episode of the Odd Pod we like to call 10 Questions With, where we get to know one of the people who help government in our state work better each and every day. I'm your host, Mike Carter, and today we are talking with Sonya Singh, IT Systems Assistant Audit Manager. In just 10 questions, we'll learn about Sonya's career journey, the challenges and rewards of working for the State Auditor's Office, what motivates her to serve the public, plus a few fun insights you won't find on a LinkedIn profile. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Welcome, Sonya.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited.
We're excited to have you. Okay, 10 questions, starting with number 1. Can you describe your background and the journey to your current role with the State Auditor's Office?
Yeah, so I was pretty fresh out of my bachelor's and I needed a job. And then someone was like, "Have you tried the state auditor's office?" And I was like, "The who's?" And so I got super excited. I was starting off as a local auditor, so I did all the local financials, the local single audits, and the local accountability. And at the same time, I was going back to school because why stop? I went for my master's in IT, and I wasn't quite sure what to do at that point. And so I was like, okay, talk to my supervisor at the time, let him know, like, hey, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I got this piece of paper now. I don't know what to do. And so he introduced me to the IT world in our office. Like, hey, we've got this team. And from there, I've been there for 8 years with our IT team, just doing all sorts of stuff. First starting off supporting the local IT and then grew into got to do some projects, and all of a sudden I'm like, I kind of like supervising. I kind of like leading. It's fun. And I then went on and I took the assistant audit manager role, and that's the nutshell.
Great story. Well, we are so lucky to have you, I'll tell you that. When someone asks you, what do you do all day? What do you tell them?
I say a lot of meetings, attend a lot of different types of meetings, whether it's with my staff or whether the really cool part about the systems team is I get to interact with our whole entire agency. So whether I'm doing discussions with my staff about their work or brainstorming ideas, I also do it with people that are outside of my team. So I get to brainstorm with them, like try to introduce, like, hey, we could bring in some system controls over here.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so I get to do all that, and I also get to do work myself. I'll draft different approaches and testings and provide it to our staff or provide it to other teams to implement into their own.
Cool. So not only managing, but also kind of on the front lines as well.
Mhm.
Question 3, the mission of the State Auditor's Office is to promote accountability and transparency in government. What would you tell the same person about how your work actually promotes accountability and transparency in government?
I got super excited with this question because, like, that's like what we all do. Like, our systems team is literally doing transparency. Like, the way that we currently like work in this environment in this world, you gotta have a computer. You gotta have something. And so we interact using a computer in some shape or form, but we don't really know what's actually doing. And so that's where we create that transparency as our team goes through. We look at, well, how is the computer doing what it's doing? How is the program doing what it's doing? Like, what is it pulling? Like, even a simple run a report, it's not just running a report, it's pulling information from somewhere. And
Mhm.
we help build that transparency by showing the teams, our citizens, like, this is exactly what's actually happening behind the big, scary, big black box.
Yeah, yeah, great answer. What's a part of your job that has turned out to be more exciting, more fun, more interesting, or challenging, or all four than you expected?
I didn't know that I was gonna be doing so much writing, so learning how to be a strong writer was definitely a really cool thing for me. And so being able to communicate, and learning how to still bring in your own personality. I think we all think that, you work for the government, you gotta be super professional and you gotta be like the black tie, but it's like, no, you can also bring in yourself. And I think that's what I enjoy is bringing myself into my work.
Awesome. What's a common myth or misunderstanding people have about what the state auditor's office actually does?
You asked the same questions last time, didn't you take notes? So I feel like yeah, we do come a lot. We come annually for some audits, and some audits are coming on a 2-year, some in 3-year. But the really, really cool fact of why we're doing this is we're learning. Like even me, like if I come back and do the same audit in the last 12 months, I definitely learned something that I'm going to bring forward. I'm going to ask questions, think about it differently. Like we constantly evolve, right? Like whether I put my pen on the left side or the right side of my table does actually change what I do since I am left-handed, right? So if my pen's on the right side, like I'm doing more work when versus on the left side, now it's easier. So it's like there's different things that we're constantly learning. We're simplifying our processes or we're learning more about different concepts. So there's value in us constantly coming out there and like trying to learn more and trying to understand better.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in the world of IT, I would imagine, where things are changing
Hmm.
so quickly.
Hmm.
Can you think of a moment when you realized your work was making a real difference for the public?
When I was a new auditor, I didn't really know what I was doing and I got payroll testing and I'm trying to like, okay, I'm gonna take some pay stubs, I'm gonna take the time sheets and I'm gonna do a comparison. And I did it and I'm like, okay, something's not working, my spreadsheet's not working, my formulas are wrong, like it's not matching. And I ended up finding a discrepancy in the timesheet that there was a formula error and so it wasn't reading all the lines. And I'm like, "Okay, cool, cool." So I did my process, got it all out, sent everything, got it reviewed, and few months later, I got a little thank you card from the employee because they got paid more, and they were like, "Thank you." Like,
Oh,
and
nice.
that was a real shock for me. I felt very humbled. I'm like, "Wait, me just doing my day to day, and this is what happens."
Yeah, great. What's a skill that's become unexpectedly important in your work at the auditor's office?
Being patient, but still being able to get things done.
Mhm.
I didn't know I had the level of skill set to be patient, and I think knowing when I can be patient versus when I need to like, okay, no, things need to get done. So those are 2 skill sets that I didn't know I needed or that I would be able to do effectively and efficiently.
Without naming names, what's
Mhm.
one memorable finding, project, or situation that has stuck with you?
Um, I think a situation was just understanding like how an application works, getting through like all the gears and all the layers and all the different spots. Like when we think about it, like how does a how am I getting paid for something? And it's like, oh, it just goes through a process and it's done. But going through all the multi layers and all the different sorts, that was, I think, a remarkable journey that I got to be part of and just learning like it's not that straightforward what's happened in these in computers and these programs that we rely on a daily basis, but we don't realize there's so much happening in the background.
Right, right. Okay, see, we're getting down there. Question number 9. If you could share one message with the people who benefit from your work, whether they realize it or not, what would you want them to know?
I would say that auditing through the system is not that scary. It's a lot of patience, a lot of questions, and a lot of chugging away, but it is so valuable. It makes everything so much easier to just understand how is my application working, how is the system working. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but kind of like I was saying earlier, right? All our jobs depend on computers, on programs, on applications, and knowing how these work definitely very important. And we've got such a great team that are ready to support that I feel like it's all doable. Just call us.
Perfect. And last question. What's the best piece of advice you've received from a colleague or mentor in public service?
I'm always tackling on new projects. I always say yes to everything. Whether it's personal, professional, so I'm always doing all sorts of stuff. But something that on our team specifically is like a mantra is you've got to have a healthy life work balance. Like everyone's always saying like work life. Nah, you got to put life in front of it. It's life work balance. And we don't think of when you think about it, you don't really realize how much your work life impacts your personal life and how much your personal life impacts your work life.
Hmm.
And so I think just having that like healthy balance, that just sets the foundation for everything going forward. It helps you have those boundaries that you need, helps you have those times where it's like, okay, now I need to focus on this. It's just something that we talk about, but it's not always easy to implement. It's probably the hardest thing to implement. And so having that That was what one of my mentors, she told me very, very early on. Did I listen? Nope. But eventually I did. Is having that you gotta have a healthy life worth out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is great advice. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Odd Pod featuring 10 questions with SAO's Sonya Singh. Thank you, Sonya, for sharing your time, perspective, and personal experiences. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for reaching out.
If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow us and tune in for future episodes as we continue highlighting the people and work of the Washington State Auditor's Office. To learn more, you can visit our website at sao.wa.gov. Thanks again for listening. And bonus question, if you could have one superpower, what would that superpower be?
I think mine would just be the ability to carry enough, like all the books I want. Like, cause I love reading. So if I could carry all the books like perfectly, like more power to me.